Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Storytime Society. Thank you for being here. I'm so happy that you're here. I'm so glad you're alive. And if you haven't already and you're here, you might as well press the subscribe button, the like button maybe. And then always, I love to hear everything that you think or anything that you thought throughout the episode, um, whenever. Usually at the end of the episode because you can gather all your thoughts. But also, we have a subreddit linked below and a Spotify linked below if you ever want to contribute to either of those in any way, shape, or form. My new little setup is doing just getting straight into the story and reading the stories, and then two segments at the end where I chit chat with you, give you life updates, drama that's going on, or just literally anything that I'm want to talk about that day, and also an advice segment. So I have a Google form linked below where you can submit advice if you want my advice. Disclaimer, I'm not a therapist, not even close. Literally in no way, shape, or form am I what's the word? I don't even know. But I shouldn't be giving like advice. So take it with a grain of salt. I'm not like a terrible advice giver, but obviously like I'm only 26. I'm just a girly and I'm just going to give you advice based on what I would do. So that's the new little setup here. Oh, okay. Let's just get straight into the story time. And the first story actually is from our very own Storytime Society member. So we are going to start with that one because we love when people from the Storytime Society community leave stories on our subreddit because it's just so much more fun when you know that it's like someone that's a part of the community. Okay. The title is Revenge on My Ultra Nasty Ex. Throwaway account because obviously, and I don't post personal stories literally ever, so please forgive the structure and flow of this story. It might be shit. I will be starting by giving some backstory for context. I was with my ex for 8 years, and it was a very turbulent and toxic relationship filled with very high highs and very low lows. I moved in with him after 3 months due to a bad home life on my end. I knew in my gut the entire time that it wasn't the relationship I was meant to be in, but in the midst of my then untreated mental illness and repeated substance relapses, I didn't really care. Things really shifted after the pandemic. He would essentially refuse to talk to me at all. He was drinking excessively out of nowhere and would sit in his office with the door shut or even locked for hours on end, late into the night. Here's the thing. He had told me early on that he previously had an addiction to corn and was now really against corn. I agreed as I don't like corn for all the same reasons he gave me: connection to human trafficking, sexual violence, dehumanization and exploitation of women and minors, effects on the brain and body, and more, etc., etc. I started to suspect him of relapsing after delving into my own research of the subject. He began getting sexually violent in his sleep. I would wake up to him unconsciously assaulting me in a very aggressive manner on numerous occasions. I began sleeping in the living room. I never found any evidence in his search history or otherwise that he was watching corn, and he would convincingly assure me that he was not. I even tried to catch him in the act, but never did. He would start getting into strange new fetishes during sex. He really wanted to have a three-way thing with his coworker where I would have sex with this other dude in front of him while insulting him, my ex, and then he would get railed by the same dude. I was not remotely interested in this, but he kept trying to push it on me and couldn't have sex without talking about it. His whole demeanor would change too. It was scary. Eventually, I was having panic attacks so often just from being in that house that I had to move out, and he broke up with me because he just couldn't stand my anxiety anymore, stating that it was the whole reason he didn't speak to or interact with me anymore. Basically, he had hated me for months. Anyways, I go back to pack up my things, and he was there. He confessed everything. He had not only had a corn addiction, he essentially never stopped and managed to hide it the entire relationship until the types of corn he was watching became increasingly more and more violent. He confessed to having gotten off to CP and snuff videos on numerous occasions and said that he started doing so in middle school. The person I spent 7 years with was literally scum of the earth. I immediately told everyone close to me what he just said. I was horrified that he hid this so well for years. I suspected regular corn, but holy shit. As for the revenge portion of the story, while I was moving my stuff out, I came across his foam roller and had an idea to take my sewing kit and literally stuff all the needles into it, pointy end pointing out. So essentially, they were hidden just below the surface to where he gets a nice involuntary acupuncture section the next time he used it. I then told literally everyone, all his friends, coworkers, family, etc., about the sick shit that he was getting off to. By the way, yes, I did report this and I don't believe anything was ever done. All I know is that he had to leave his job. I don't know what happened to him, as I don't give a flying rat's ass enough to find out, but as for me, 4 years later, I have completely made a 180 in life. I am now married to my best friend, own a very well-off business, own a house, travel multiple times a year, and worked my ass off to treat my panic disorder and other conditions, and we live our dream life together in peace. Holy poop. I'm sorry. I should have given a trigger warning with that, but I didn't read the story before, so I didn't know. But that's like insane. That is a lot to unpack. I'm so glad that you're doing well. And I'm wondering if you went to therapy for that, because dude, I would have had to. And I'm so glad you reported it, because that was the one thing that I was going to say at the end until I saw that you obviously said you did report it. It's honestly crazy how, like, there's literal sex offenders, pedophiles, predators right in front of our eyes, and people don't, like, not people, but law enforcement don't do anything about it. Like, you're just going to sit there after I just reported this and I literally saw it with my own eyes, and you could easily get this person and you're just refusing to. It's so weird to me. And it really makes me sad that, like, our life and the way that we live isn't, like, truly based on, like, SVU, because we need an Olivia Benson in our lives, because the way that she will literally go to the ends of the earth to solve every single case, and she doesn't care if it happened 25 years ago, she will still be working on it, which I feel like that's not even really, like, isn't that impossible? Because the statute of limitations, like, if it's a grape from like 20 years ago, you can't, like, charge for that, right? I don't know. But I'm sure a lot of that stuff on that show is, like, not correct, but I just wish that it was more like that. Like, I wish that our law enforcement was more like that, because it really stresses me out that it seems like 90% of law enforcement don't care. And it's like, where are all the good cops? Where are all the Olivia Bensons? Hello, please, can you put a stop to this? Like, I'm just stressed. Why do we not look into these people? Because God knows what he's going to do, or God knows what he did after that. I mean, I highly doubt he got help, because it seems like he was just only going further and deeper into the problem. And that's literally why I hate porn so much. Like, I hate it, because it's just fucked up. You never, not obviously not every, like, person that watches it gets into this and, like, goes deeper and deeper, but a lot of times it starts, like, desensitizing you so much that the hardcore isn't enough. So you go to the next thing, you go to the next thing, you go to the next thing, like, more and more crazy, more and more aggressive, violent, and then it ends up being to the point where it's you're watching illegal videos and things like that. So I just think that it's just, all in all, like, in every way possible, it's just not good at all. There's so many reasons for it. Obviously, the reasons that you listed were a lot of the reasons, but I just can't believe that it's legal. I mean, obviously, I don't think that that's another topic to get into, because I don't think that the government should be able to control, like, a lot of stuff. Obviously, I want my freedom and I enjoy my freedom, but I don't know. It's just something about corn that is just really gets me, because it really does affect a lot of things in the brain and the way that people react to sex and get desensitized to sex, like normal sex, and then they, like, their expectations in their head without even them knowing gets so fucked up, and I don't even know. It's really crazy, but I've experienced it with partners before, like plenty of times. Not myself, because I've only watched it a few times. Like, I really haven't watched it that much. I'm not like a super sexual person. I'm not like, I don't get the urge to have sex that often. I don't have a high sex drive at all. I have a very low sex drive, actually. Um, yeah. Unfortunately, I wish I had a high one. Honestly, I do, but I just don't. And it's just always been like that. I've always been like that. Like, I've never been one to be like very sexual and wanting to have sex. So I don't think that I don't think that it means anything's wrong with me at all. I just think that everyone has a different libido, and some people have a higher libido than others. And also, I think just the libido with men versus women is just like generally so off, and that's definitely leads to a lot of assault. Personally, I think, because men are so like sexually driven. For the most part, I feel like 90% of men are very sexually driven, and women, for the most part, like 90%, are not. But obviously, there are the exceptions on each side. But okay, we're going to get on to the next story. The title is I found out my older sister is actually my biological mother. 3 months ago, I found out that the woman I've always known as my older sister is actually my biological mom. I've been raised by my grandmother, who I always thought was my real mom. Lately, my sister, who's 28, reached out and suggested I come live with her. She wants to readopt me and take legal custody. Fortunately, that wouldn't happen until later next year, so I still have a reasonable amount of time to really consider my options and make my decision. The issue is that she's in her third year of orthopedic surgery residency and works roughly 60 to 75 hours a week. I care about her a lot, and we've always had a close relationship, talking a few times a week for over an hour each time, but I'm worried she won't have the time or emotional energy to give me the kind of support I need, especially with her demanding schedule. At the same time, my relationship with my grandmother is complicated. She's very controlling and strict, and over the years, I've realized she can be manipulative. She's also been a bit emotionally abusive at times, gaslighting me and playing the victim card, especially if I try to bring up our complicated family dynamics. All she seems to do is deflect my questions by twisting the narrative, making herself look like the victim by trying to guilt trip me. It's exhausting. I've spent my whole life with her, but it's not an ideal environment. She and my mom have a strained relationship since I can remember. My mom was kicked out of the house when she was 18, and there's a lot of resentment there, especially because of how my grandmother has treated her over the years. On top of that, my grandmother lied to me for my whole life and made me believe my real mom was my sister. That betrayal has really messed with my trust in her. So now I'm really conflicted. I love my grandmother, but I feel like I'm stuck in a toxic situation. Moving in with my mom would be a huge change, and I'm not sure if it would be the best decision for me. My mom has her own issues, and I'm not sure if she's ready to take on the responsibility of raising me, considering her crazy work schedule and everything she's been through with my grandma. I'm just so lost and confused about what the right move is. I don't want to make a decision I'll regret. Has anyone been through something like this? What should I consider when making a decision like this? Any advice would really help. First, that's really hard to deal with as a 15-year-old. I can't imagine having to make like a decision like that. And obviously, you have the right to make any decision you want and what you feel is best for you. You're the only one that knows your situation inside and out and all the details of your situation. Personally, though, if it were me, I would definitely want to move in with my real mom. Is it seems that she is more stable, and even if she is obviously going through a huge, like, she's going through the residency program and stuff, which takes up a lot of time. I think that just shows that she is responsible enough to take care of you, because if she can commit to something like that, because that's a lot of commitment, and she's obviously very smart. And I think that shows that she could definitely take care of you. And if she is saying that she wants to after all this time, I feel like I would definitely believe her. And I don't know. I just feel like if you're really going through a situation like that with your grandma and she's genuinely at times emotionally abusive and really controlling and strict, then I would say that the best case scenario would be for you to move in with your real mom, because it doesn't seem like the situation with your grandma. Like, if you compare the two, I feel like the situation with your mom highly, highly, highly outweighs the situation that you're in with your grandma at this point in time. So I could only hope that that it would get better going to live with your mom, but obviously I don't know all the details of your situation. Okay. Update. I have some pretty important news I need to share. As some of you may already know from a previous comment I made in a response to a question, I have been staying at a close friend's house for the last few hours or so. I briefly touched on that in my comment. Anyways, during my visit with my friend, my mom called me. She told me she wants to take legal action against my grandmother. She's already began to do so. She told me she's already contacted an attorney and has a consultation scheduled. She's expected to meet with the attorney in a week or so to go through the steps needed to file a child custody evaluation request, which would be the first step to gain parental rights over me. Hearing this only just a few hours ago, I'm feeling some conflicted things about all of this. But at the same time, I feel really good about finding a solution for my problem. I'll keep you all posted on any more developments. One more thing. I talked a lot with my friend while staying at her house. She managed to talk some sense into me. We shared some stories about our own experiences growing up. I told her about some of the gaslighting and about my grandmother's general apathetic attitude she has towards me. My friend really put things into perspective for me. She really made me realize how effed up my grandmother is by confirming my strong suspicions about how toxic she's been. Not only that, but my friend jokingly suggested we retire my grandma to an old person home. LOL. That may have been the single greatest suggestion I've heard all day. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to recognize like the situation that you're in while you're in it, because you just kind of think that it's like the norm. It's just what you've been through. So you feel like it's normal. So that's why it's so important to have other people in your life that are supportive and that are there for you to talk to about this, so that they can like let you know that that's not normal. Like, I've had to do that in a lot of situations, and even in my personal life, like with people very, very close to me, telling them the way that like their parent treats them is not right, and it was the norm for them. That's how they've been treated all their lives, but it's just, you don't know when you're in it for so long. You're just like, that's just how they are. That's how they've always been, and you're just so used to it that you know it's not right, but you just don't realize how bad it really is until someone else from an outside perspective can actually give you their perspective on the situation. And that's so important when you have relationships, like any kind of relationships, friendships with anyone, family or not family. So, some of the top comments. Take your time, write down the pros and cons of both. Seeing it written down will give a better perspective. Wishing you all the best. OP said, I don't think it's so much about the perspective at this point, as it's more about trying to navigate the situation I'm in. I really feel like my gut is telling me to get away from my grandmother's toxicity, but I'm still trying to figure out exactly how to do that, if that makes sense. I really appreciate the thoughtful advice. I'll still give writing down the pros and cons a try. Yeah, that's good. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting that she's like finding it so hard to decide if she wants to leave the situation with her grandma, but I understand as well, because I know like that a toxic relationship in any way, shape, or form with anyone, not just like a significant other, can be hard to wrap your mind around. Even more so, I feel like if it's a family member, because you don't want to give up that. Like, you're like, well, they're family, but their family treating you like shit and they're toxic and manipulative and emotionally abusive, it's okay to let that person go. It's really, really okay. If anything, it's amazing, and it's something that you should do for yourself, because no one, it doesn't matter if they're family. No one should be treating you that way. Okay, your mother had you very young, but she clearly has really stepped it up. And as a parent myself, I think it's a pretty good guess she did that with you as her main focus. Of course, we do not know all the details, but I would be willing to bet she gave you to your grandmother to benefit you, especially if she doesn't personally like your grandmother and she now feels like she is in the position that she can take care of you. She sounds like an intelligent person, and she most likely put more thought into this than you may realize. Ask her about it. Other people have given you great suggestions with pros and cons. All I suggest is that you talk to your mother and your grandmother more. Ask some serious, direct questions so you make the decision that's best for you. Staying or moving doesn't take away the opportunity to have a relationship with either of them. I haven't talked to my mother for years, but my eldest child has a relationship with her. Your mother and your grandmother don't need to get along if they are focused on the main person here, which is you. This is all about you. Choose what's best for you. Your mom had you at 13. Who only knows the circumstances? It seems like grandmother took control of the situation and by default, your life. Your mom has worked hard and wants to better herself and give you both a better life. Personally, I'd prefer to be with the person that may not be there all of the time, but has all of my best interests at heart for me and fight for me and love me than a person that just wants to control my life. Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that. I mean, that's like being in a toxic relationship, but with your grandmother. Like, why are you trying to control my life? I mean, I know that she's only 15, and obviously, I feel like the age difference grandmothers in the most cases are so. Most grandmas aren't that cool. Most grandmas have old ideologies and old morals and values that line up with very toxic things. Like that is definitely something that they were raised with in the ways that they were taught how to think, and things have come a long way since then, but not all people have come a long way since then, and some people don't grow with the times. They choose to stay stuck in their ways, and that's obviously up to them, but that's definitely how my grandparents are. Like my grandparents are very much stuck in the 1950s all the way, like in every sense of the word. And it's hard to be close to someone like that. Like I love my grandparents with all my heart, but there's a certain type of relationship that I have with them that isn't like a relationship that I have with people that I'm really close to. Like I can't you can't get super close to people like that, because if they have these type of ideologies and beliefs that I don't believe in anymore, that they were taught when they were younger, then how am I supposed to get close to them? Because a lot of the stuff that I believe, that they believe, and that I believe don't line up. Then that's like, we can love each other and relate on certain things, but there's always that like gap, some that piece that's missing, because it's just such a big thing. I think like beliefs and morals and values, if you don't line up on those, you can't truly have like a super close relationship with someone. And yeah, I don't think that means you need to cut them off 100% unless they're extremely hateful, but I also think that it's okay to realize that you're not going to be as close as you wish you could be with them, because they just don't believe the same things as you. And yeah, I don't know. Okay. Next story. This one's kind of short, but we'll see. It seems to be pretty popular. It's on AITA, that subreddit, and it has 15,000 upvotes. So the title is, Am I the asshole for laughing at my ex when he asked me to forgive his back child support? My ex, male 62 now, and I, 64 now, got divorced with one infant child in 1987. His support until 1992 was $50 a month. He never paid this. He never worked for a paycheck, only for cash. In 1992, I went to increase his support to be what he would pay if he earned federal minimum wage. He never paid. Never saw my daughter after she turned 7 in 1993. No cards, calls, nothing. Which is good, and left our family to be a family. Fast forward to 2004, my daughter is now 18 years old. I started to receive small child support deposits of $64 a week. I'm shocked and dismayed, but happy. A few weeks later, I get a call from my ex, Shannon, saying, "Isn't she 18 now? Tell them to stop taking the support." I laughed and said, "No, you will always owe the back amount, plus interest. I can't stop it." So he quits working. Then no word from him for years. Comes to 2021, I get a call from Shannon. Surprised by this, I asked what the hell he wants. He wants me to fill out a form to forgive his past support of $65,000. He swore that he would then pay me directly $300 a month until the balance is paid. 217 months. Now remember, he's been under a court order to pay me child support since September 1987 and has paid nothing. When it was taken from his pay, rather than work, he chose to quit his job. I found out through some online research that this was about the time that the AG of Texas, where Shannon lived with his wife, had filed a lien against Shannon for the back child support amount. I had no clue this was done. So Shannon's wife doesn't want him to be on their single wide deed because of the lien. So she divorces him. This is why he wants me to forgive his child support. He was losing his sugar mama. He's called 3 times since then, and He's called 3 times since then, and just when I stop laughing, I get another call from him. Am I the asshole for laughing at him in his old age? For not letting him off the hook for this $65,000 in back child support that I know I will never see a dime of? Absolutely not. I'm pretty sure that is just, it goes without being said. Like, you, girl, I would be like, cough up that money. And if you don't, and you're going to have to suffer the consequences. And that means, if that means when you get a job, you have to pay that all back. Okay. What? You're going to try to play me and say, you're playing me like a fool and saying that you're going to pay back the money? Oh, okay, sure. You haven't paid since freaking 1987. What in the world? And that is court ordered. What in the world makes you think that I believe that you're going to pay me back on your own accord? Sir, I'm not a dummy. Like, what is wrong with you? That is just crazy to me. Men really be thinking they can get away with anything. It's crazy. Okay, some of the top comments. No, he seems to need to pay up, and having a nice chuckle is merely a bonus. You are not the asshole. He's been dodging child support for decades. He's lucky you even bothered to take his calls. Honestly, I'd be laughing too. He's trying to weasel out of his responsibilities at 62 years old. He's got some nerve. He doesn't get to just erase his debt because he's losing his sugar mama. He needs to pay up, and you're right to hold him accountable. Enjoy the chuckle, girl. You've earned it. Not the asshole. My ex complained that after the wage garnishment, I had been supporting my daughter by myself for 10 years by then, that he didn't even have enough money to buy cologne. I'm like, I guess you're just going to have to stink then. I got a few of his tax returns once he decided to get a real job. You keep on laughing every time he calls. I'll be laughing with you. Not the asshole. My ex did pretty much the same. He ended up getting injured at work and was able to collect disability. Our youngest was 18 and had just joined the military. The government had his child support coming off of that disability, and I collected for a number of years. It paid for daycare for our granddaughter. Since he had lied to everyone that he had paid his child support all along, they wondered why I could get it after the youngest was 18. He told them I was just greedy. You aren't laughing alone. That's crazy. I was thinking that too, like, why would she get child support after 18? But obviously it's back child support that he just hasn't paid, which he needs to pay. And he's literally, the fact that men don't change for that long, like, holy cow, you're a grandpa. You're a grampy. And you still can't, like, be accountable for your life and your decisions and your responsibilities is crazy to me. And genuinely so sad, and just really, really shows a lot, if I'm being honest. It's just, why is it so, it's actually so annoying to me that it's so common for women to be shamed about how they are mothering, but for men to be praised for just doing the bare minimum with their kids. Like, it's really crazy to me. It's like a mom could be breastfeeding, taking care of the children all day, every day, and then they go out one Friday night with their friends and post it on their story, and they're shamed. But you see a guy walking down the street with a stroller and they're like, oh my God, you're such a good dad. It's crazy. It's crazy. Can we please normalize being a good dad and being like an equal parent? Because I will not have that. I will not be putting up with that. It's actually very annoying. Like, if I'm a stay at home mom and my husband is going to work all day, consider that a job. Consider both of us are working. So when you get home, you can also take care of the kids. I don't care if you were working all day. I also was working all day. So, excuse me, time for your responsibilities when you get home too. And I'll also help after work as well. But we need equal responsibility. Like, it's crazy to me. Am it stresses me out. It really stresses me out. It's like, why is it always women that get hate? Women get hate for everything. It's so annoying. It's like we get hate for everything, and men also target us for everything. Walking down the street, I always feel so targeted when I'm walking down the street at like any time. When I get out of the car at like a corner gas station and there's a man and he's creepy. Always. Always. There's always creepy men at the gas station. Even during the daytime. You could go at 9 a.m. and they're still like, hey, mama. And I'm like, please. Unless you're going to pay for my gas, get the fuck away from me, please. I actually did have a guy once that offered to pay for my gas. And it was so funny because he was like, it was very much like he wasn't actually going to pay for my gas. He just wanted to act like he was going to. And he came up to me. He was like, oh, I was going to pay for that. But I had already put my card in. And I was like, sure. Sure you were, sir. Like, bye. I don't, please go away because you didn't pay for it. So now I don't want anything to do with you. Sorry, oh my God. Okay. Now we're going to get on to our advice section. And I don't read these beforehand. So I hope that this is good because this is a long advice little question. Okay, I'm going to start. Hello, Jamie. My name is Joe. I don't know if it matters, but I'm 19 male. My girlfriend is 20 female. I met my girlfriend in 2022. She's 5'11" and she's always made comments about her weight. I just told her it was probably because she's 5'11" and she needs to eat more than most women. I've never really brought up her weight and never talked about it. And well, we broke up similar to your situation, but instead we took a 7-month break. We got back together. She told me that she lost weight. I didn't really see it from the pictures, but I saw her for the first time in real life. I noticed she looked a lot different. Obviously, I didn't say that's her since she lost weight. People have been saying that she looks better. I didn't know what to say. I was uncomfortable. I didn't want to acknowledge it and make her feel bad. I'm just not prepared for that talk. This is something that's going to come up again, and I just want to be prepared. So how should I go about it? I don't want to be like, I noticed too, but then again, I don't want to just be blank, if that makes any sense. I've always found her attractive before and after she lost weight, and I tell her that all the time. I'm just not sure what to say or do. Any advice will help, literally any. Thank you, and I enjoy the story times a lot. Aw, well, thank you, Joe, for listening. Um, I okay. I'm a little. So she made comments about her weight, like as in being underweight or being overweight. That's the one thing that I'm missing here. I'm assuming that she was thinking that she was bigger or like she weighed too much, which that's definitely has to do with her weight being 5'11". Like, yes, you definitely are going to weigh more, obviously. That's like a given, but I understand completely because it's just like, so that's not taken into account. When you're a woman, it's like you want to see this tiniest number, and it doesn't matter how much you or how tall you are, because that's just how most women feel. Like, I mean, I think that what you're saying, to be honest, is great. Like, I think that you telling her that you found her attractive before and you find her attractive after is great. I don't think there's anything else that you really need to say. If you You should talk to her. If she's having problems with her body, then it sounds like that's a deeper issue, and anything that you say isn't going to change the way that she feels about herself. So, and I'm not sure if that is the case because I don't have all the details here, but if that's the case, then that sounds like something that she needs to work on outside of her relationship with you. And that sounds like something that she needs to try to mentally get through and possibly go to therapy if that's an option for her, because it's really hard to deal with something like that, whether you hate your body because you think you're underweight, or whether you hate your body because you think you're overweight. Either way, it still can be considered a disorder. You can have body dysmorphia either way. So I think that as long as she's open to a conversation about you telling her that she needs to maybe look into getting help. Not, I don't know how you would say it. Like, you should, I mean, I think that's fine to be like, I love you before. I loved you before. I love you now. I will love you no matter what. But no matter what I say about your body, if it's something in here that you're not okay with, and it's something that deep down it's really a mental thing, which in most cases it is, then that's something that you yourself cannot change. Like, you cannot change that for her. Because for me, I experience a lot. I have body dysmorphia and I've had it for so long. I've struggled with eating disorders for so long. And there were years where it was really bad, where I was really skinny. And I still struggle with it. I look back at those pictures and I still wish that I looked like that. But then I realized that what I had to go through to look like that. And then I'm like, yeah, well, if I did that again, then I would literally spiral and have a really bad eating disorder again, which I've worked really hard to not have anymore. So I think that, and what my point to saying that was that no matter what anyone says to me, my boyfriend could tell me that I'm so beautiful. I have the best body ever, like every single day, 20 times a day. Everyone could tell me that I have a beautiful body. I'm like, so, everyone could tell me that and I still wouldn't believe it. And that's because that's like a mental thing. It's something that's in my brain that I've been working on for so long. And I did talk about it in therapy, but obviously there's like specialists that you can go to that will like help you more in depth with that. But I hope that I'm understanding your question or your advice entry right. And I think I am, but I feel like there are maybe a couple more details that I would need to know to fully understand. But yeah, I hope that when you talk to her, it goes well. Um, Let me know if you do talk to her. I would love to hear what happens, and if you need advice on what after that, what happens. Because if she's like, I don't know how mature, you guys are obviously very young, so I don't know how mature she is. And there can be times where if you're not ready for a conversation, you might react poorly to it. So, like, I'm saying as in her, if she's not ready for that conversation, she might react poorly to it. So that might be another obstacle that you'll have to overcome. But I think that the way that you're going about it is already great. And I think that you are very kind. And it sounds like you're very kind in the way that you talk to her about this. So I would just keep doing what you're doing, honestly. But that's the one advice. I'm just going to read one for now. Maybe I'll read two in the future, depending on how it goes. I don't know. But if you want to submit an advice question, the form is below in the description. I don't really have much to say right now because I already told you guys like my stories for the week over the weekend, what happened with my friend and stuff. And I really haven't done anything since I talked to you guys last because it was literally yesterday. So I don't really have much to update you guys on, but oh my gosh. I'm actually, my last day of yoga was yesterday. So I'm sad about it, but at the same time, it's $150 a month. And I just really don't want to pay $150 a month because, especially there, because I did like it at first, but it's very repetitive and I don't see any like growth. Like, I feel like I've outgrown the classes already because some of the sequences are the same sequences and we don't try like any new moves or like inversions and things like that. And that's the fun part to me about yoga, is that you get to try new inversions and they get to like, they teach you through class, which is how my old studio used to be, but this one is not. And it just seems really repetitive. And it, like, I feel like at this point I'm like at a point where I can't grow anymore there, and I've like reached my, I've reached like, I've hit a wall almost. So that was my last class yesterday. The saddest part is that my friend and I go together, so that's like when we get to see each other a lot, and that's sad that I won't be seeing her as often. But I'm going to a different gym. It's actually my boyfriend's work gym. They have like, it's crazy. Their office is crazy. It's like a huge glass building, and it has like a cafeteria, it has a gym, they have classes, like they have mat Pilates and everything. So I'm gonna go to that for a while. I'll probably keep that membership. It's like $20 a month. So I'll probably keep that membership for a while. And then also there's gonna be a Pilates place that is opening that my friend that I go to yoga with is gonna go to, and I'll probably get like some type of membership. Definitely not unlimited, because unlimited there, it's like gonna be $200 a month. And depending on what the other membership choices are, I'm definitely going to try to get like at least once a week. And then I'll go to my other gym for the other days of the week. But I didn't work out today and I felt groggy and weird. But I also went to yoga last night at 6:15 p.m. and usually I go at 9 a.m. and I feel much better when I do that. But maybe I'll go for a walk tomorrow morning or something, because I need something in the morning to like get me out of the house and get me like up and going. Not even to say that it gives me more energy, but it definitely makes me feel a lot less groggy and definitely happier as well. Yeah, let me know what you thought about this episode. Let me know what you thought about any of the stories that we talked about today. I love you guys so much. And just so you know, and just so you're reminded, we post episodes every day at 8 a.m. The long episodes are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, and the mini episodes are Mondays and Thursdays. So I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next episode. Mwah. Bye.